Have you ever been sitting next to someone or near someone who just repeatedly and continually is clearing their throat? And do you find that that annoys you? Well, today we're talking about pet peeves, and specifically we're talking about how to deal with the pet peeve of somebody that continually clears their throat. So we're doing a series on pet peeves, which is, about things that people do that cause you to be irritated or annoyed or angry. And principle-based living is all about giving you the knowledge and the tools that you need to empower you to take control of your life and to achieve the level of happiness that you really want. And so pet peeves is something that you hear people talk about a lot, where they'll say, this is just one of my pet peeves, or this just really bothers me. I don't know, maybe people like to be bothered. Maybe they like reasons to be irritated or annoyed. But I think the truth is, at some level, all of us want to be happy, or we want to do the things that we think are going to make us be happy. So what we're going to talk about today is some ways in which to give you control back over your life, and to find out if letting go of your pet peeve is something that you really want to do, or if you just want to hang on to it. So we're going to talk about a person clearing their throat. So have you ever experienced that you've been maybe in a movie theater, or maybe in a classroom, or maybe it's a friend or a family member, and you're just around them and they clear their throat a lot, and then what happens when you begin to focus on something? That whatever we focus on tends to magnify or to increase. So if I start paying attention to a person that's clearing their throat and it annoys me, then do you think I'm going to notice them clearing their throat more or less? Probably going to notice it more. So let's go back to, how do we even know what kinds of behaviors are annoying and which ones aren't? Is that a choice? Or is that something that we have no control over? Well, if you think about it, it's pretty obvious that it's something that is a choice, or that we do have control over, because there are some people that have pet peeves about certain behaviors, and other people it doesn't bother at all. There are other things that certain behaviors really annoy a person, but then they don't annoy other people. Or maybe you found that there has been something in your life that at one period of time it really bothered you or annoyed you, but then something changed and all of a sudden it wasn't an annoyance any longer. So the good thing about that is the recognition that I'm in control. It's important to remember the equation of what creates an emotion. So again, annoyance, irritation, anger, all of these are emotions. So the question is, well, what creates our emotions? Oftentimes in life, we think that there's an event or an antecedent. So I'm going to just put an A. So that represents a trigger or things that happen outside of us. We think that this equals the emotion. So in this situation, it would be the clearing of their throat is what bothers me, and that's what is creating this irritation, this annoyance, this anger. Now, if this equation was true, then who's in control of my emotion? Is it me? Or is it the person clearing their throat? If this equation is true, then the person clearing their throat is in control of my emotion. So let's say I have a friend who really wants to make me angry, and he knows that this is a pet peeve of mine, then all he needs to do is sit down next to me and start clearing his throat repeatedly, and as a result of that, I would become angry. I think we all know that this isn't true, that nobody can make me be angry, that it's ultimately a choice, because we get conditioned in life. So we learn things, it goes into the subconscious. So we have the conscious part of our brain and the subconscious. So we have learned behavior that goes into the subconscious part of our brain. We're not even aware of that. It's just like, if somebody throws a ball at you, your normal reaction is you're going to reach out and catch it. Just as we get conditioned to do physical, behavioral things, we get conditioned of how to respond to things emotionally. So somewhere I may have learned that when I get angry at somebody doing something that I don't like, then they stop doing it. So now I create a belief that says that I have the ability to control another person by using anger or intimidation. So if I get mad at this person, then they're going to stop doing the behavior and start doing what I want. This is true. It seems like I can control that. But you've also been in a situation, I'm sure, where you've asked somebody to stop doing a behavior and they don't stop. And if you're a person that uses anger in order to get what you want, I'm sure you've also experienced situations where getting angry has not worked for you. In order to change this whole thing up, first of all, I have to recognize and I have to understand that there are principles or laws that govern this world in which we live. And one of those foundational principles is the principle of control. And that principle says there are only 3 things that I control. That's my conscious thoughts, my emotions. That's because my emotions come from my thoughts, and then my behaviors. So if I come back up here and look at this equation, the correct equation is not the event or the antecedent equals the emotion. It's the event, the antecedent, so clearing of the throat, plus my thoughts about this equals my emotion. So if I realize this, then who is in control of my emotion? Is it the other person clearing their throat, or is it me by the thoughts that I think? Now, sometimes what happens when we look at this is we go, yeah, but anybody would think that this clearing of their throat continually is annoying. Well, I don't think that's a true statement. There might be a lot of people, or even the majority of people, that think that it's annoying, but there may be some people that they don't even notice it. And why wouldn't they notice it? And that's because, our subconscious part of our brain can process so much more information than the conscious part of our brain. But we have a filter that filters out irrelevant stuff. So maybe I've been conditioned throughout my life that, I don't even really notice people clearing their throat. So it can be going on all around me. And because of my filter, so the conscious part of my brain is focused on something else, somebody could be clearing their throat and I don't even hear it. And think about that. Have there been times in your life, so I've had this happen where I've been in a movie theater, I'm watching the movie and there's people sitting behind me and they start talking and they've kind of been talking throughout the movie. And when I focus on their talking and I begin to get annoyed or irritated because they're talking, then every time they make any sound, I notice that. And what happens is I get distracted from watching the movie. So I start missing the movie because I'm paying attention to what's going on behind. But I've been able to tell myself, forget about that and just focus on the movie. And after a short period of time, it's like I don't even hear or notice the talking anymore. So we do have some control over this filter, and some of us are better able to concentrate and focus on one thing than another. But let's say that I'm unable to filter it out. I still do have the ability to change my thinking. Even if I've been conditioned to think that this shouldn't happen, that this isn't wrong, or that this is wrong and shouldn't be going on, I can change that. There may be a number of different reasons why this person, is clearing their throat, and maybe they have no control over this. If we're believing this is true, so here's a person that doesn't have control over this part of their behavior, and we're allowing that to control me. To me, that's pretty scary, because that means then if I have this belief, there's probably a lot of situations in my life where I'm giving away my control to other people, and ultimately what I'm doing is making myself be powerless. And if we truly want to be happy in our life, until I understand this correct equation, I'm not going to be able to find that level of happiness. because there's always going to be situations, circumstances, behaviors outside of my control that I may not appreciate, agree with. They may be, something that is different than what I would expect. But if I can change my thoughts about that, and then I can also possibly change my focus so that I don't even notice, now I'm in control of my life and I can choose to be into a state of peace, of happiness, and not allow those things outside of me to dictate and determine what my emotions are. Thanks for watching today. Hopefully you found this useful to you in helping you with maybe some of the pet peeves that you have in your life. If there's something that you would like to comment with or to share, make sure you do so in the comments below. Visit our website at principlebasedliving.com. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, make sure you follow me here.